Hello and welcome. We are going to discuss about approaches to intellectual property creation. Now, before we do that, let us look at the IP value chain. Now, the IP value chain explains the four stages to the intellectual property creation. Now, four different stages of the IP value chain are innovation, which can also be termed as creation. The second stage is protection. The third stage will be the management of a company's intellectual property portfolio. And finally, commercialization of the enterprises or the organization's IP assets. Now, in this presentation, we will be discussing about the innovation stage, which is here on top. In the innovation stage, an enterprise invents, develops, modifies, acquires, outsources and collaborates to create and increase its IP portfolio. Now let me repeat. The enterprise invents, it develops, modifies, acquires, outsources, and collaborates to create and increase its IP asset portfolio. In our view, the IP innovation stage, that is the first stage, is practiced in three different ways. The first is the technology push, research push approach. The second is the market pull approach. And third is the open innovation approach. In the technology push approach, the enterprise, or you can say an organization, a company, embarks on a research program which is designed to address a scientific problem or any other technological dilemma. A technology push means and describes a situation where an emerging technology or a new combination of existing technologies provide the driving force for an innovative product and problem solution in the marketplace. In this scenario, the enterprise may achieve the objective of developing a solution or an invention, but converting that solution into an applied form for commercialization may not be easy. And this is the single most important and the single most drawback of this approach in the innovation stage. This can be explained through an illustration which is self-explanatory. As you can see, the first stage in this approach is the R&D stage, which goes to the second stage where the scientific issue has been resolved and solved. Then you come to the invention stage where the company invents a kind of a new product or service. But in order to go to this next step, that is the commercialization step or the protection step, there is a problem, because converting that solution into an applied form is often not easy. Now let us look at the market pull approach. The research program under the market pull approach is driven by one or more identified commercial opportunities. Now let us take the example of a pharmaceutical company. A pharmaceutical company decides to focus on an illness or a disease and applies a research program. It then analyzes the biology associated with that illness or disease. In this approach, the pharmaceutical company, in deciding to undertake the research program, will have calculated the potential demand for that drug that might be developed, the cost that such a market might bear in paying for that drug, the potential revenue that might be earned, and finally an analysis of the input costs required to get the drug to the market. These 4 points have to be taken care of by the management of the pharmaceutical company in order to innovate, invent, and take out a drug for protection in the IP value chain. Now the protection stage, which is the next stage in the IP value chain, will be discussed in a separate presentation. Now, as you can see, the company sees a commercial opportunity, that is stage 1, then it innovates and tries to find and develop a kind of a technology or a product for that market. It then obtains legal protection, which will be dealt in a separate presentation, and then it goes in for protection, in for commercialization. Now the third most important approach, which interests me personally, is the open innovation approach. Coined by Harvard Law School professor Yochai Benkler, open innovation actually means connecting external and internal ideas and or technologies. Companies, firms work and interact with external partners and create newer and better technologies. This approach is also known as a commons-based peer production approach. It's known as a common-based peer production. Common-based peer production approach. Open innovation is a new model of economic production where the resourceful energy of a large number of people is coordinated with the aid of the internet in order to develop projects without the usual hierarchical organization. The idea behind open innovation is as simple as it is powerful, that the creators of new ideas don't have to be within the 4 walls of a company in order to create and develop better products for the market. It has gained momentum because of the internet. Open innovation would have not prospered if there was no internet. It is because of the internet that the open innovation revolution has created a storm in the marketplace. The basic premise of open innovation is keep your valuable proprietary to yourself and leave everything else to external innovation. Innovation is less about inventing new or building new things and more about coordinating good ideas for commercialization. This means that you can have some ideas in the four walls of your company, but it is better to coordinate these ideas with other good ideas which are available outside the four walls in order to develop a newer product which could be commercialized in the marketplace. Now, here is an illustration, a simple illustration. External ideas which are not available within the four walls of the company are combined with internal ideas to have open innovation. This is as simple as it seems. And as you can see, this is a very simple and a very pragmatic approach that has been adopted by many companies. Now let us look at one of the major proponents of open innovation, which is IBM. Open innovation has compelled small companies as well as smart companies to review their strategic management. They are learning how to coexist with and profit with the open innovation phenomena. And if there is one company which exemplifies this potential along with deep, wrenching transforming it entails, it is IBM. IBM has embraced open innovation in such a way that many organizations of its stature have dared. IBM did not join the open innovation model from a position of dominance, like many would believe. The company was having a rough time as many of its operating systems were failing, and the company was having a tough time with its long-time arch rivals like Microsoft and Sun Microsystems. IBM, in a move which was termed quite unorthodox during those times, started showing interest in open source software by donating huge sums of money and proprietary software code and established teams to help open source communities based web servers like Apache and Linux systems. Today, IBM saves billions of dollars over every year, and it also has saved a lot of money by not developing its own operating system similar to Linux on its own. Whereas it has donated money to open source communities to develop the Linux software for its use as well. Now, if you have any questions regarding this presentation, you are more than welcome to ask by writing an email to info@enhelion.com. Now, before ending this presentation, I would also like to mention that IBM supports the open source community, and this has enabled IBM to leap forward from its competitors such as Microsoft and Sun Microsystems, who charge for their operating system software, whereas IBM does not. The benefit which IBM gets from helping Linux, the operating system that it has so genuinely supported, are many. Let us now look at how does it help IBM. We all know that the business model of IBM is selling its hardware for service, softwares, as well as services. Linux, on the other hand, offers operating systems which are more or less complementary products to IBM's goods. Now, if we carefully look at the principles of economics, which is that if the price of a complementary product goes down, one can price one's own product higher and sell more of it. Here, by helping Linux acquire and use intellectual property owned by IBM, IBM can help Linux gain an advantage over Microsoft and encourage more people to use Linux. Since Linux is nearly free, this will lower the average price of the operating system, which will benefit IBM as a seller of complementary products such as hardware, software, and services. So I hope you have understood why open innovation approach has been adopted by IBM and why IBM has become such a successful company in adopting this new approach in such a brilliant way. With this, we come to the end of this presentation. If you have any questions, please get in touch with us at info@enhelion.com. Thank you.